At best, the alien abduction phenomenon is a terrifying, traumatic experience. At its worst, well, we think they sometimes take people and don't put them back.
I lost my mother and brother to this trauma. He murdered her, then killed himself.
These women are being used as human incubators, with all their children stolen away into the night.
A 6-foot-tall entity of blue-white light paralyzed me, then bent down and said into my ear, "Hi, Steve." It knew my name.
We hear gruesome stories of experiments and dissections. Imagine dying on a metal table while paralyzed, surrounded by alien faces. It's a real horror story. Welcome back, everyone, to our show, Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Leslie Shaw.
Stephen Shaw here.
And tonight we've got a wonderful, little stroll down memory lane for Stephen. We've got one of his old school chums who had an incredible sighting at their school. Unfortunately, it's when Stephen was out sick that week or something, so he didn't see it. But this Paul Solomon is joining us tonight. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the 33rd parallel. Apparently, living along the 33rd parallel is where you're most likely to see UFOs.
It's like a super highway.
Yeah, and we live in, I live in Joshua Tree, and that's where I saw my first UFO. And we lived in, we were over in Yucca Valley as well, and that's where Stephen saw his third UFO. Stephen's first and second UFOs were also along the 33rd parallel too. And what else is along the 33rd parallel is Stephenville, Texas. There was an enormous, very important sighting there. A lot of people, a mass sighting, hundreds of people saw a UFO activity there. I believe the Dulce base is not too far away from the 33rd parallel.
Yes.
And also the Catalina Island is just off the coast here, and also a very big, important area for USO
Which, of course, encompasses also to Malibu, too.
Yeah, and that's where Stephen saw his
USO. I saw a USO.
His second UFO was a USO that rose up out of the water off Malibu.
Interesting. The Woodland Hills area where I grew up was where I saw my first UFO, and also Paul with a whole group of PE class and PE teachers in 1974, March thereabouts in 1974. Apparently in Woodland Hills, like in 1928, there was also a mass sightings that hundreds of people saw that was in the news and all that in 1928, which is way before Rocketdyne. Just for people to know that Rocketdyne is fairly close to Woodland Hills.
Yeah,
it's just maybe about 10 miles away from Woodland Hills.
I think they were kind of attracted to the Rocketdyne plant.
Yeah, but in 28, it wasn't even there. So, but there is something about the 33rd parallel that is either it's like a ley line or a gas station stop or just something energetically that works.
Anyway, we'll be back in a few minutes with our wonderful guest, Paul Solomon.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. Are you wondering if the UFO phenomenon is real?
Are you wondering who is flying the UFOs in our skies?
Are you wondering if aliens are really abducting people?
Then you need to read this book.
The book is titled, Who They Are and What They're Up To.
Find out the true identity of the aliens.
Learn a very brief history of the UFO cover-up.
Find out where the aliens are hiding.
Find out why our government is in league with them.
Learn about their bizarre hybrid breeding program.
Find out why their technology is 13,000 years ahead of ours.
The reference section of this book alone is worth the price.
Again, that was Who They Are and What They're Up To by Leslie and Stephen Shaw.
Now available on Amazon and coming soon in the Spanish and Czech languages.
And soon to be in English and Spanish audiobook.
With a new foreword by fellow author and abductee Karen Wilkinson.
Again, that was Who They Are and What They're Up To by Leslie and Stephen Shaw, now available on Amazon. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our show, Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Leslie Shaw.
I'm Stephen Shaw, co-host.
Yep. And we have a wonderful guest tonight. This is an old school chum of Stephen's.
Yeah,
from back in the day.
From junior high and high school in Woodland Hills.
And his name is Paul Solomon. He and his wife are entertainers. They perform magic and music together at smaller venues and private parties. They have an album of original songs of Tennessee. One titled The Fight can be found on various streaming platforms, including Spotify and others. Paul will be releasing an additional set of songs very soon. Thank you for doing this for us, Paul, and coming and joining our show.
Yes, it's my pleasure. And it was amazing that I actually connected to Stephen after decades. I mean, you know, through the El Camino Real High School alumni website. And then to find it was like, almost like, wow, it's like crazy.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Like, it was just one of those things. I had recently joined myself, and and then you contacted me, and I just, you know, it's amazing how people reach out. Very few people I actually still remember from El Camino. I mean, yourself and Craig Balcom and a few others, but it was good to hear from you again.
And Mark Cook,
Mark Cook, yeah, he was.
Yeah, you're right.
He was.
We were really connected because, of course, we were playing music, and then we formed that band, and we played at Shadow Ranch, you know, along for that Halloween event, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, you had the Fender Rhodes keyboard that you got, and
then the acoustic, of course, and then the clarinet and the saxophone.
Yeah. You play everything.
That was 1978, October 30th and 31st.
What was the name of your band?
Asmodeus, I think we decided, right? Yeah. It was going to be UFO, but we decided Asmodeus, kind of like a play on Amadeus.
Yeah. That was Steven's better idea.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So, but it's anyway, so certainly Paul has got at least three very interesting and compelling tales, two about UFO sightings with groups of people in two different locations, and then one going back to Tennessee, which he considers to be a angelic visitation. And so we're going to cover those tonight for our audience. So, because, you know, our show is UFOs and the paranormal. So we're going to touch on those. And of course, we'd like to start. And I did some research. It looks like it was about March of 1974, the sighting that happened at Hughes Junior High. And I'll let you go.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, of course, you went there and I went there.
Yep.
But you weren't there that day. But
no.
And of course, the way the junior high school is structured is they have periods. You've got homeroom, math, English, and I think there are 45, 50-minute periods, and then you walk to your next class or whatever it is. So I remember this particular one, it was afternoon, maybe around like 1 o'clock, maybe. It was PE period. So, you know, we were all assembled outside near the field. And then they had us sit down on the pavement in rows. They call it squad order, you know, so we got our, you know, sitting down, our knees, you know, kind of crossed. And I think there was about, maybe like 30 kids, you know, all there. And then we're waiting to do the activity. And then all of a sudden, the teacher was there. And all of a sudden we saw really low to the ground. I mean, this thing was maybe, how, like 100 feet up or something like that. It was this big black boomerang-shaped object, craft, and it was moving slowly, started low, and as it moved, you know, it would rotate. It was like turning. As it was moving, it followed the perimeter of the school, like the outline of the school. And as it was going, you could see every angle of this black craft. And of course, you know, I mean, I'm young. I knew airplanes, I knew helicopters, all that stuff, but never seen anything like this before. And we were watching this thing, no noise, no means of propulsion. It was weird. It was out of the ordinary. It started, you know, at about 100 feet for the perimeter of the school, and we were all staring at this thing. And you know, usually, you know, I would think that the teacher would say, okay, we saw it, let's do our activity. But no, the whole 45-minute period, we were just sitting there on the ground. in the same squad order, watching this craft circling around the school. And the teachers, I remember the PE teachers were running into the office, going to get these Polaroid Instamatic cameras, and they were all just like snapping pictures of it after they were initially, shocked from looking at this thing. And as each time, it circled the perimeter of the school, it seemed to gain a little altitude, like it would go higher. It was still doing the same. It was still rotating, moving slowly, following the perimeter of the school. And every cycle or whatever, it got higher, and higher and higher. Just the 45 minutes, just sitting there staring at this thing. We didn't do anything, just stared at it. And then the whole 45 minutes was way up in the air after the 45 minutes. It just kept getting high. It was so high up after that. You could still see it as a little dot up there. But that was the first thing I ever had like that I saw.
Wow.
And of course, after that, I went and got a book on UFOs because it was daylight, not a cloud in the sky, clear day.
Mm-hmm.
You totally clear. Just right over our head.
I can't believe it was over that long too. That's a long sighting.
Yeah. The whole 45-minute period, just watching this thing following the perimeter and get every time higher and higher and higher and higher. I was just way up in the air. Yeah, just sitting there. Normally you'd think after a certain point, the teacher would have you, okay, everybody, let's do our whatever, but not this time. That's what happened.
So because it happened in the early 1974, you would probably still be 13, right? Because it happened in
right around there.
Right around 13.
Not grade, maybe eighth or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, definitely. It would be eighth grade. And people forget. I would like to make a shout out to our former PE teachers if they ever listen to this show. To Mr. Porter, Mr. Burke, Mr. Meinke, the different ones. If you're around still and you took those pictures, I've contacted the Hughes Junior High School alumni site and nobody's reached back to me yet. Because obviously a lot of people saw that. And I think I must have been out of school for like a week because I never heard a thing about that. I'm surprised. I was surprised that, when you told me about that story.
Yeah. And of course, I knew nothing about this kind of stuff. I was just going to my class just like normal. And then the whole period was interrupted by that was weird that we're just sitting there. Like, why didn't they get us to do an activity after it gained a certain altitude? But
they were too busy being amazed themselves.
Well, I guess. That whole region of Woodland Hills, they have sightings going back that were really well documented, even back to 1928, way before Rocketdyne. I mean, these were like in the news. I mean, this was like a big sighting of a large metallic object, 1928. I saw my first UFO at about that same time, but it was a large spherical orange object about 9 o'clock at night.
About what year?
It was about the same. It was the same year. It would have been a little bit earlier in the year. And I called.
What year?
1974, 73.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw. And then apparently there were a lot of sightings of that same orangish red a sphere that we're seeing like even in Tarzana, like at a movie theater. And this was not uncommon. I just happened to see it when I was at home. But the one you saw, you said. You mentioned at one point that you thought it was like boomerang shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a boomerang shape, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sense any psychic communications in your mind?
No. It was just like it was just observing this thing, We're all just kind of amazed at this thing.
Was everybody kind of quiet, or were they like saying like, what the heck is that? Or was it
kind
of mesmerized?
Everybody was quiet, like
mesmerized, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, nobody said anything. We were just all, the teachers went and got their cameras. They're snapping pictures. The kids are just on the ground. I don't know. Maybe we were taken up and brought back down. Missing time. No, that didn't happen. But
there was that sighting that I was mentioning that happened
in Tarzana, right?
In actually in Woodland Hills. It also happened in 1968, June the 10th, on like at a Friday night, and it happened around the area of Kelvin Drive and Natoma and DeForest. That area. These people were coming back from college library. I guess probably Pierce College, and it was nighttime, and it was a blackish brown UFO that was backlit by the rising moon, and it was there for about 5 minutes. And she said it was about the size of a school bus, and
Wow.
it was about 100 yards up in the sky and about 300 yards away from them, and it was there for about 5 minutes. And they had static electricity that it was producing. So all the hair on their arms, on both of them, were completely stood up from the static electricity. And then it kind of just stopped. And when it stopped, I think they said it felt like it noticed that they were watching it, and then it just basically blinked out. Basically just went away.
You know, I have to. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to just finish the story here real quick. That it was kind of interesting that her friend was so afraid of it that he ran home and apparently hid under his bed covers for a day and refused to talk about it because it freaked him out so much. And then she went into the military in the Marines for 6 years and was an electronics specialist on aircraft. And she said that, we don't have anything like that. Okay, because she knows the aircraft that they have, but she just didn't want to talk about it for such a long time because her friend said that I'm not going to talk about this.
Yeah, every time she brought it up, he would get mad at her. So.
Yeah, he would get angry at her.
Oh, really?
But it was right in the Woodland Hills area in 1968. And there was a whole slew of stuff that was happening over like a 10-year period.
I had a couple of other interesting sightings that I didn't really tell you about. But you mentioned,
yes, do go on.
you mentioned an orange object. I remember being at my Woodland Hills house, and I looked, and it was nighttime, and I looked toward the mountains. I guess it was west. We were surrounded by the rocky kind of mountains, right?
Great
Sandstone.
mountains.
And then all of a sudden, like at night, this big orange ball like comes up. It looked like a small sun. It was really weird.
That's what I saw.
Like, here's the mountain line, and it came up, and I'm thinking, it freaked me out. I was like, this is night. Like, why is the sun coming up? And I just watched this orange, like bright orange plasma ball just coming up over the behind the mountain. That was really another weird thing.
That's what I saw.
Is it really exactly like Stephen's first sighting? Yeah.
It's in the book. It's my first sighting.
It was just a big round orange ball. That was.
I wonder if that was horizontal.
Kind of moving slowly.
This would have been in early. It would have been in either early 73 or 74.
But you saw it like 74. Moving across the sky though.
Oh yeah, it was moving. It was moving from south to north.
Oh,
it was like
mine was just coming over the mountain. That's all I saw. Just kind of like come up like that and just sit there. It was kind of weird. Yeah. And then I had another one where we were coming down. We were living in Bakersfield. This was years later, and
in the 90s, right?
Yeah, 90s, right? We were up in Bakersfield, and we were coming down to visit my mother-in-law, and then all of this, like I think it was around Valencia, and then I was driving on the road, but I saw something on the side, but I didn't turn to look. My wife saw it, and it looked like really weird, like a shuttlecraft from Star Wars. She said it was following our vehicle like over a ways, and then it just took off. And we talked about it later. I said, "Did you see something?" And she's all, "Yeah." And she said it felt like something like shuttlecraft out of like a science fiction movie. And I saw it like come like over by our car, just kind of going forward, and then whew, it just took off. I said I saw something really bizarre in my peripheral vision, but I didn't look. So that was kind of weird.
So you mentioned Valencia. Was it Valencia or Bakersfield?
Well, no, we lived in Bakersfield, but we were coming down. Oh, you're talking about the Bakersfield encounter?
Oh yeah, we'll finish up with the Valencia one first.
So of course, we moved from Woodland Hill. Well, we were living in Canoga Park. My wife's Kimberly's mother lived in Canoga Park, so we would come down from Bakersfield to visit her in Canoga Park. So on one of those trips, we were around Valencia, going through the pass, and then that's when we saw that shuttlecraft looking thing. It was white, going alongside us, and then zipped off. That's
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned you had like a group sighting in Bakersfield, right?
So I was in church. I was in church, and we were there because, practicing for the music for Sunday. And I was with like the co-pastor, and he was on the worship team, and he played guitar and bass. So we were in there, And then all of a sudden, one of the other guys from the church and Pep's friend came running in. There's a UFO that went across the sky. There's a UFO that went across the sky. And then we look at each other. I have my guitar. I put my guitar down. We went out quickly and went out the door. And then he said he says it was like, it's this rectangular object and it kept changing shapes is what he told us. So,
Right.
and he pointed it out. So just down the neighborhood a little bit, I saw this thing just sitting right above somebody's house down the street a few blocks away, and it was rectangular. And then I saw it, and then as I'm watching it, the thing changed right in front of my eyes, changed into the boomerang-shaped object, like that I saw like in junior high school.
Right.
Mhm.
And it was always like, gee, hey, buddy, remember this?
Yeah.
Like, it was
How
the
the heck
weirdest
did
thing.
you do that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just boomerang shape. And then Pat, who was watching, he says, what is that? And he says, what is that, a kite or something? And I said, no, I know exactly what that thing is. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that
We've
was
seen
it.
that before.
Did
Yeah.
it do any like really erratic, quick movements or anything like that?
No. It was just right. It was just hovering right over the house. And it just changed from rectangular to a boomerang shape, like right in front of my eyes. But
That's
it
one
just
of the,
stayed there.
Wow.
You know, they have this list of observable characteristics that if you see something, you know, that doing this, that it's officially classified as a UFO.
If it has all six, for sure. Yeah.
If it has any
Oh.
of these six above, really. And I think they should add a seventh to that list, in that UFOs are the only things that morph into other shapes, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have the Ospreys and the Harriers that, you know, they can tilt their engines and change from a
Yeah.
helicopter into a plane, but we don't really have other things that morph, you know, into
or the
from
split-
rectangles
yeah.
into boomerangs and circles
what
into multiple circles, you know.
So the one in
Yeah.
Bakersfield, how long did you observe it? Did it like this end up disappearing or leave?
No, it didn't disappear. You know, I have to say, since you also do paranormal, I personally have my own take on all this, but I
Sure.
think that some of them cross over into the supernatural, thing.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think that perhaps that when you're seeing these things morph, that's what you're kind of staring at, and that's why they do all these bizarre things that seem to defy, our physics, because they're not part of our physical laws. They're, I believe, from
Right.
another realm, and they can do whatever, so, but you asked me, Stephen, you said about the Bakersfield encounter, you said, did it like go out, just disappear or something, or?
Yeah. Did it like make any like erratic movements, or did you just like get bored and just stop watching it?
I just said, you know what? I'm not going to just gawk at you, whatever. So I said, I'm going to go back in and practice. So then I just went back in and practiced my guitar.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
out there long enough, just.
Right.
Yeah, Stephen saw a cigar-shaped one just hovering over town, but he was late for an appointment and
Oh, that was when
he had to go.
That was in 2005 when I was in.
Yeah.
We were living in Yucca Valley at
Yucca
the time.
Valley.
I was coming down the pass, and this was like 8:30 in the morning, and there was this huge cigar-shaped UFO that
Wow.
just parked itself over the town, and I happened to be on the radio, was listening to the radio 107.7.
And people
there-
called into the radio,
Yeah, saying,
right?
there's a UFO in the sky. People are calling in, and there's this big
Wow.
cigar-shaped metallic UFO, not a blimp, this basically over town. And I was looking, I said, I wish I had my camera with me. And it's like, well, I didn't, but I was late for an appointment. So I was watching it. It was like the second or third one I'd seen that year. So it wasn't
Yeah,
anything
it seemed to be old hat
too
after
near
that.
for the USO that I saw with the valet off of Malibu went back in 2005 at 4. It was, I guess it was during the baseball playoffs. I remember it was Boston and New York were playing, and so I know that it was October.
Did you ever go to the Chart House down there, Paul? In the coast of Malibu, their fancy restaurant right on the coast there.
No,
Yeah.
I went to a place called Gladstone's, which was like ocean, fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great, but never went to. No, don't remember that. No, what year?
Chart House is kind of like kind of like a Gladstone's, but it's got like it's in Malibu, and I had this long drive home. I thought, I'll just stop in, to get a little bit to eat, and went out to go get my truck, and there's this USO underwater submerged
Wow.
object, that came out of the water and just hovered there. It was white and it was
Wow.
cylindrical. Okay.
Really?
No, it was round. Sorry, it was round, and
Wow.
it just kind of hovered there, maybe a couple hundred feet off the ocean surface, maybe about 1,000 feet out, and then just zoomed up the coast.
Well, you said it first did some zigzagging.
It did some zigzag a little bit, and then it zoomed up the coast. And the parking attendant said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I saw."
An unnecessary question because the guy's eyes were huge.
Well, the thing was, I didn't know back in 2005 that Malibu is a real hot spot
for USO activity.
For USO activity. It's one of the hottest spots. In fact, because we live on the 33rd parallel, Southern California is the 33rd parallel.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it seems to be a
UFO.
It's like a super highway for a lot of activity.
And I didn't see anything until 2005, but I had heard Stephen's stories, of course, and I was kind of getting to the point where I wanted to see something.
She's getting jealous.
Wow. And then sure enough, there it was one day, I'll ride along in Joshua Tree again.
Oh, yeah. What year was that USO when that Char restaurant was around? What year was that?
That was 2005. It would have been 2000, and for sure it was 2004.
Yeah.
It would have been early October 2004.
Oh, yeah. Then, we were up in Bakersfield, yeah.
And then in January, that's when I saw my first.
Yeah.
Really?
Driving back from art group.
It was just a round white light in the sky, but it wasn't behaving like a plane or a helicopter. It was moving kind of strange, slow, and then fast, and then slow, and then it hovered above the road in front of us, and then it started getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and then it shot off at
like 20,000
supersonic speed. It had to have been 20,000 miles an hour, if I'm guessing,
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fast that visually it stretched out into a line that collapsed on itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a weird effect.
Like a quarter of a second, it was gone. And that's one of the observables, the first of the observable characteristics is supersonic speeds. And from a dead stop, that was the thing that got me. From an absolute dead stop, it instantly went at the speed. It didn't like ramp up to it in any way, just instantly that fast. And Lazar, Bob Lazar was talking about how they create these ships have something called gravity emitters that create like a gravity bubble in front of the ship that it sort of just falls into. And that's how they can attain these supersonic speeds without making sonic booms.
And without smushing themselves.
And without getting crushed by the inertia. And that makes sense. And that might have been something like you saw, like as they're creating the gravity bubble, it maybe morphs what the ship looks like too.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's where, how high was that white one you saw, Leslie? How high in the sky?
About 1,000 foot in the sky. It seems to be about their traveling distance around here. We've seen that one and two more that are about the same height.
Here in Sky Valley, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two more living. And once we moved down to the lower desert, we were up in Yucca Valley area. Now we're living down in near Palm Springs. And since moving down here, we've seen two more. Like again, though, the white light ones. Just round white light with no running lights, no little blinky lights on the side or anything.
Yeah,
dead silent, no sound at all. That's another characteristics of them is.
Yeah.
Unless when they're really close, people feel like a low hum. I was wondering when the boomerang was right over you guys. Did you sense any kind of feeling like a vibration of any kind?
Nothing, no disturbance, no sound, nothing. It wasn't like it was not there, but it was. I mean, because we were seeing it with our eyes, so no.
How did the other kids react after it was gone? Did you guys talk about it or
no, I don't remember talking about it. I don't even remember just like after we saw it with the whole 45-minute period, I guess we just left, and I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I'm just assuming that we must have gone to our next class period. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
That's the weird thing about some of these, mass sightings is that it's almost like
People go into shock almost.
it's almost like, yeah, because like I say, I didn't hear a thing about it. You
Yeah,
think
you'd
that
think the whole school would be buzzing,
you think the PE teachers would be sharing the pictures that would be in the paper, but yeah, we've heard other stories. There were like school children or whatever they see these things, and it's almost like almost like you're mesmerized. And some have communication, like the children in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, they actually mentally communicated with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
They said basically take better care of the planet and stop playing around with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's always the message.
It's always the message.
I don't remember anything after that. I mean, because of course that
Maybe you guys were all taken.
No,
that's another symptom of abduction is that nobody can remember what happened.
That didn't happen.
I often kid. I have a little alien ID card, and I say, they came down, they took me up, they said you're part of us, and then they gave me this alien identification card, and I like show when I go to Costco just to get a laugh. It has an alien picture, and it says authorized to fly UFO, abduct people, take organs.
Part of the Galactic Federation,
Yeah, right. Yeah, there are like this. Yeah, that is true.
Pretty funny. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's switch gears here a little bit.
I'm really in Tennessee.
I'm really curious here about what your family. This is going and switching channels here, but this is probably a really compelling story. So
what happened in Tennessee, right?
So I was directed, of course, my beliefs and all that, my Christianity. I was
tell our audience, let our audience have an idea.
Yeah, I was starting to get this idea about chasing the dreams of God, and I was listening to like this instrumental music about trying to chase like the dreams that like God would give you to like do something. And of course, all we want to do is help people, be a blessing, help the needy, the homeless, bring joy. That's what we do. We're entertaining. But anyway, I was really seeking. I was laid off from my job. I started getting the idea about like traveling across the United States, some people were praying for us and got this picture of us going to like the land, this city of the rising sun. And then my landlord had a brother who owned a ministry school in Florida. So I thought, okay, maybe we're supposed to head to Florida. So I had no job, had no money, no place to live. But I told like that we were part of the study. The pastor, one day I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm committed to doing this. And, gave me like $700. And then we went, put our stuff in storage and just went with no job, no house. Anyway, we ended up going across the United States. My landlord gave me a credit card. She said, just take this before we left, just take this just in case. You never know. There's nothing on it, but just take it. So we started going across the United States, heading toward Tennessee because of, she said, meet my sister and she'll buy you lunch in Tennessee. Here's her phone number. So we went across toward the top part of the United States, going through the states. We had partway, we had no money. I don't know what to do. What do we do? We're going to pray. So we just thought maybe we should call Becky. And so then she told us, hey, remember Beck and William? They just deposited $1,000 on that credit card. I said, really? So then we were able to keep going. And then so we ended up meeting Debbie, the sister in Tennessee. And then we met her at Wendy's there. And, we were there an hour just talking, eating the hamburgers, love Wendy's hamburgers. And then afterwards I said, okay, let's press on to Florida, because that's where I think so we're out in the car, and then there were no problems with the car whatsoever. So I got in the car, and then Debbie's all, hey, maybe you should hang around. You were going to do like a church service tonight. I don't know. And then I said, well, thanks for the invitation, but we really got to go into Florida. So then I said, everybody get in the car, but they didn't get in the car. Then Debbie said, we're having a big dinner tonight, if you want to stay around, And then I said, well, that's really nice, but we really should move it on. And then my kids and my wife's all, yeah, Dad, maybe we should stay. And I said, no, let's go to Florida. So then I went to turn the car, and it was deader than a doornail. It just no power, nothing. I opened the door,
no light. There,
yeah. So then my wife starts laughing. She says, where do you think you're going? And then I said, well, I guess I can stay. Maybe I had tried starting the car for a couple of times, nothing. And then I said, maybe we'll stay around. And then I just started the car one more time, and it started up like there was no problem. So we stayed anyway. So to share my encounter, so we were living in a trailer. I was outside on the porch, just kind of, I play songs, in church, so I'm singing worship songs, kind of a thing. And then I'm singing it. I didn't know it was a guitar, just my voice, and it was night. And then all of a sudden, like in the eastern sky, this white light just started getting brighter, and just right over the town, really low, and then brighter and brighter and brighter and bright, intense. And then it started strobing like this, like to get my attention. Then it zipped across the sky. It was miles away in seconds. It went right over my trailer and turned into this golden light, this beautiful golden light, and just was circling right over our trailer. So I brought my wife and my son out, and we're all staring at this thing, and I didn't know what to do. So I'm just like smiling and waving. You guys still there?
Wow. We were here.
Okay. I just opened some other application. So it was just circling over our thing, and we're just watching it for 20 minutes, just circling directly over our trailer.
Wow.
And then it just kind of went away. And then I had another time where I'm out on the step. It wasn't a porch, it was just a step. It was just like a little outsider door. It was night. And then I'm singing some more worship songs, and then I'm hugging my wife. And then all of a sudden, this like a snake. It was like doing this wavy thing. It comes down from the sky, and it's like glowing like colored lights, like golden and blue lights. And it just came it's just like right across from me. It came down from the sky. Then it's just like right across from us, really close, like a couple of steps. And I'm hugging my wife, and she says, "What is it, Lord?" And then it's just slowly doing this like glowing, and then it just went up back in the sky.
Well, both times you were singing songs, so they must like your voice.
Yeah,
your voice and music,
Well, just sure. worship songs to like God. Mm-hmm. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for just that kind of thing. So we just
Whoops.
Well, we seem to have lost.
There seems to have been a little bit of a hiccup here.
Well, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Be back. Leslie, you're kidding me.
What?
Our merchandise store is up?
Of course, my darling. All of our amazing concepts of shirts, mugs, and bumper stickers are ready to go.
No way.
Way.
Even my brilliant Egyptian concept that no one else ever thought of before?
Yes, that one too, and lots more. All at our new store at etsy.com/shop/abductions101.
Wow. I want a shirt and a mug and...
Well, Stephen, and all our curious listeners, just go to etsy.com/shop/abductions101 to see all of our unique designs.
I'm going there. Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we had a little
glitch. A gremlin. We had a gremlin.
I'm the glitch.
Yeah, it was a gremlin.
I'm the glitch.
So those are very, very compelling, and also very those are wonderful stories. I mean, as far as like what you and your family experienced, and makes people wonder about when you throw yourself upon the universe and God, you get provided for. People provide, and God provides. And the universe is like, say you went with you were going across the country with no money,
no job, no place to live, no guarantee of anything. Right.
Just beloved friends to help here and there,
Yeah. And wonderful. Of course we feel that it was just God's like verification of, hey, people think you're crazy for leaving everything, your life behind, and going across the country by your vehicle with your kids. This is just a verification of you're in my will, you're doing what I want. And, and we saw the miraculous. And I have to say, back before we left Washington State, we were living in Blaine. I mentioned I was laid off, and I was doing this thing about seeking the dreams of God. And one day I'm out in the back. My landlord wanted me to there was like a sort of a hill, an elevation in her dirt. So she wanted me to level it out. So I was using this rototiller, like, the old weed eaters,
Mm-hmm.
with the nylon. Well, they had a
Yeah.
rototiller attachment. So I was using that. And then all of a sudden, like I'm just trying to pray about what do I do? And I feel like I'm supposed to go across, but I'm not sure. All of a sudden, this hand appears in the sky. It was like it was clear as day. It was a hand with fingers, and it was open, and it was downward. And I'm just looking up, and I'm like, what in the world? Well, like, God, is that you? And then I get, and it wasn't a cloud. Like I'm trying to think of what was it? It was a cloud. Well, no, it wasn't a cloud. It was like it was like a hand. And then I got in my heart that I'm releasing everything you need to go across the United States. That's why you see an open hand downward. I will provide everything that you need. That's what I saw. You know,
Yeah.
and then another time I stepped out my front door, and these are just like verifications that because I mean, who would leave everything, no money, no job, and just go across the country? I mean, that's
You
crazy.
remember, how people used to do the trust fall thing? You'd fall back into somebody's
Oh yeah,
arms. It
yeah.
reminds me of that. Like you're trusting the universe. It's a trust fall to the universe.
Yeah, and if these supernatural signs and wonders just verified
Mhm.
that I'm doing, because you don't have any other verification. And then another day, it's the daytime. I walk out my step, and then all of a sudden, up in the sky, just right above our house, it was like somebody just painted like a little section of a rainbow. Like a anomaly with the red, green, blue. Yeah, just like
Yeah,
sitting there.
just a piece of
But
it, though, right? Yeah.
but it was changing color repeatedly. It was going from red, green, blue, orange. It just kept rotating colors. And my
Wow.
wife came out there and she saw it as it started, because I was just going to start going back in the house. She stepped out and saw it just as it started to stop. So that to me was just another sign of, hey, yeah,
Right.
this is what I want you to do. And then when we went across the United States, we had these whole box of promise books, kind of promises from the scriptures about love and about help and answered prayer and all these. We're just passing it out to everybody we could think, just to kind of be encouraging. So yeah, so those are some of the things that happened to us. And then one other really interesting thing is one morning. My son was really young, maybe about 5 years old. I had two sons, the younger son, Noah, and I went to the library, but in the morning he was laying in the bed next to my wife, and he shared this like with my wife. When she woke up, I saw some kind of a person like open up the roof, and and this colored being was surrounded by these other people over on top of our roof, and they ripped it open, and then they were surrounded in golden light, and then he smiled and was waving at me with all these other beings, and then closed the roof back up. That was my
Wow.
little 5-year-old son.
Mm. Yeah, that's
Whoa.
amazing. Actually, Leslie, you've never talked about it on the show, but you should talk about your experience when you were 16, when you were in Oregon. This is
Yeah.
along the lines of what you're talking about, Paul.
Yeah. I woke up feeling very strange that day. Kind of with my love chakra just wide open, just loving everything and everybody kind of feeling.
Yeah, you're by
Yeah.
yourself.
I felt, yeah,
You actually threw yourself upon the universe at that point in your life too.
kind of too, yeah. But in this case, my my boyfriend woke up and he was kind of in a cranky mood. So I just decided to take a walk and let him stay to do his crankiness.
Yeah.
And I was, just floating down the city street with this radiating smile, I think. And I saw a homeless man in front of the hot dog stand, and he was really in poor condition,
Badly off, you said, right?
Yeah, he was super greasy and grubby, and
Oh wow.
his pants had tears in them, and he looked hungry, and he asked me for some change you know uh
For food.
for food. And then I took him into the restaurant. I said, well, let's just have some food right here in the hot dog restaurant. They let us sit in there, and we ordered and just chatted like normal people. And I gave him some money when I left. And I walked down the street towards this giant church. And in the churchyard, there was this statue. And I turned, it was like Mother Mary, I think, and
Oh,
some
okay.
beautiful angelic woman, and I was looking at it, and suddenly the whole world around me went black, but a
Wow.
spotlight was on this statue,
Wow.
and I was hearing choir music,
Really
like the singing of
Angels.
in
angelic.
every pore in your system,
Wow.
kind of. I
Wow.
can't explain it very easily, but I
Yeah.
felt like I had entered some sort of a state of grace of some kind, right?
Wow.
And I'm just standing there enjoying the music,
Wow.
and
Wow.
like just reveling in it. And then I heard this lady, and I snap out of it, and the whole world comes back, right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I look to the left of me, and there's this man who was running the hot dog restaurant, and he ran up the street, and he was saying, "That was a really nice thing that you did." And I turned to look at him, and I don't know what was in my face at the time, whether I had this strange look on my face or whatever,
Yeah.
but frightened him. He stopped in his tracks.
Wow.
I just wanted to tell you that was really nice what you did. And he turned and ran away, and I think
Wow. Really.
I must have looked like, I don't know, maybe he thought I was a supernatural being or something. I
Yeah.
certainly felt supernatural. I felt quite strange.
But it was for doing a selfless act by helping somebody who was
Yeah.
downtrodden
Well,
and
it
And
treating
sounded
them like
like
a real human being.
yeah,
you have a heavenly experience, and it sounds like maybe there was like glory radiating on your face, and
yeah, I
you
think
were
so.
it's like you entered into another dimension and you were overcome with it. And that's like really powerful. Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I'm kind of not any specific religion. We studied with the Gnostics for a while,
Sure.
and we've done chanting and Buddha chanting and meditation and that kind of religious practices and stuff. But the Gnostics are a sect of Christianity too. It's just that they're kind of more like Buddhism. They have more chanting and more
Yeah, right.
I,
uh
I, ha-
stuff
ca-
like that.
I have another interesting experience when I was 12 years old. I don't know if I
Yeah.
told you, Stephen, but I grew up Jewish. My family's Jewish, So
Right.
we weren't strict. It was just more of like the heritage. Hey, the escape from Egypt. The powerful signs. To get them out from slavery, the Jewish people, and then it was about celebrating the holidays like Hanukkah. We did Purim and Passover, that kind of thing, and I was part of this community center where all the kind of programs for like the Jewish kids and stuff like that. But I remember, one afternoon I went in my house, laid on my bed, and then I closed my eyes, but I didn't, excuse me, didn't fall asleep. It's kind of hard to describe, but I saw like a man in like a blazing white robe, and it was like uh I didn't see a face. It was just this figure of in white, like radiating. And then behind him were these capital letters that spelled JESUS and then a space CHRIST, big capital letters, also emanating like white, intense light. And I opened my eyes and I remember saying, I wish I could see him again, but I had no clue what it was. They don't mention that in a Jewish household. I had no clue, I forgot all about it. And then at 19, I was baptized, and then that vision came back to my head. I was trying to tell you guys, like, oh my gosh, like I saw this Jesus guy when I was like 13, 12 years old, So
Yep.
that was kind of wild.
Yeah.
Well,
Never,
he was a Jew, right?
yeah, I
So
was a
why not?
Jew. Yeah. So
You were being they were getting you ready ahead of time,
Yeah.
so it's great.
yeah,
I personally think that we are tested. I think that we are tested during our lives, and you either pass the test or you don't. Leslie certainly passed her test, being kind where she didn't have to be kind. She didn't have to be kind, treating a a homeless person that had a one test
yeah.
hanging out, as she recalled saying.
Yeah,
I
he looked a little grubby for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm such an imperfect person. I have my issues and all that stuff like that, and you
Yeah,
know,
God knows, but we try.
yeah. But in my heart, like your heart, and your heart,
Mhm.
Steve, both of you guys, kindness, and love and sharing and everything that, I could see that in your face and the way you are, and,
Mhm.
and sharing with people. It's amazing. And of course, it's a privilege to know you guys. And I'm so
Like,
glad, that you're able to reach people and,
mhm.
share. And that's such a great thing.
Yeah,
There's
we did that
there,
for
yeah.
people. We did the show and wrote the book for people to, because we saw these programs where some poor person that keeps getting abducted, and they're like, why is this happening to me? And we had a theory about it, so we decided
Actually,
to come out.
it's interesting that our second edition was the forward was written by Karen Wilkinson, who's
Mm-hmm.
been abducted many, many times.
Wow.
Military
Wow.
backgrounds.
Yeah,
And she basically sees them as being very demonic.
Yeah.
soulless. Yeah,
What we call our
demon kind of
cousins,
things.
she calls them demons, that they don't have souls, and
I,
she's you know
a lot of the encounter, like the abductions I hear, it's very harassing,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
very like overcome you, and we're going to do what we want, and
Hmm.
you have no power, and we'll paralyze you, and you have
Right.
no power. It seems like that. It's terrifying. People are in dread, so it
yeah.
does. Like a lot of them seem very evil, and I've never been abducted. Thank God. I've had the sightings and all that,
Hmm.
but I would just probably rebuke.
Um,
Oh, I
yeah.
have to share that. I'm sorry. You want me to share something else or not? I don't
Go
know.
Sure.
ahead. Go
Yes,
right ahead.
please.
Sure. This is your interview.
So it's in Bakersfield. We're in an apartment upstairs. It's about 2 a.m. I wake up. I'm sleeping. I wake up. My wife's sitting up, gagging and choking. She's gagging and choking. I open my eyes. On her side of the bed, uh, up a ways, there's this. It looks like a green and yellow, weird, ugly monster head, like from a cartoon. It wasn't three-dimensional. I can't. It's so hard to describe. I can't understand. I don't know. It wasn't three-dimensional, but I'm seeing it's there. It's
Two
Right.
this
dimensional.
green
Yeah.
and, yeah, yellow head, and I'm just amazed. Like she can't breathe. I'm all, Kim, there's like a green and yellow monster head over you. She can't breathe. And I say, it's just staring at you, Kim. It's staring at you. He can't breathe. I'm all, it's like it's from a Scooby Doo cartoon. A Scooby Doo cartoon. I'm just amazed at this thing. She can't breathe. And I said,
She
you
says,
wicked
"Get the
evil.
tennis racket and hit it or something."
Yeah, no. Then I said, you evil wicked demon, you cursed thing, get out of here, in Jesus' name, get out. So as I said that, the thing started rising up, and
Yep.
then once it got to a certain spatial distance, she was fine. She could breathe again. So
Yeah. These
Steve
things
was
are real.
attacked. You were
Yeah.
attacked by this is the weird story.
Oh well, there's so many of them.
The lizard thing was very strange. Tell them about it. It's
Oh,
really
the lizard thing?
when I turned into a lizard.
Oh yeah, this is again when we're doing our Gnostic practices,
wow,
and anyway, so this was back in Woodland Hills when I was living back at the Fallbrook house, because we
Yeah.
actually lived there for 7 years. We were fixing it up,
yeah,
and we were going to buy it, but it never happened. My
Yeah.
parents sold it anyway. So it was like a Saturday or Sunday morning, and I was it was like maybe 9:30. It was in the morning, and Leslie went to go get coffee and bring back bagels out of the kitchen, right? And I'm awake, and I'm just laying back in bed, and then Leslie came to the door with the tray of coffee and bagels. And then she turned into this huge snake, this serpent, and
really,
started to attack me, just
wow.
like we're talking now, started attacking me. And then I'm in the middle of fighting this thing off. And then the real Leslie comes through the door, like maybe
Oh,
5 or 10 seconds later, and with the tray. And she's looking at me, and I think, she says, I'm trying to fight something off. This you were a snake. You were a serpent,
Yeah.
and it's like plain as day,
Yeah.
and
I'm
it was
expecting him.
attacking me.
I expected a completely different expression on his face when I walked in the door.
I
He
mean,
was
you saw a
terrified of me.
Leslie, or you thought there
Mhm.
was a Leslie turn into a
Yeah.
snake, but she
Uh-huh.
was somewhere else.
Yeah, she
Wow,
hadn't come through the door yet. She hadn't
Yeah.
come through the bedroom
wow,
door. Yeah, it was the
wow.
weirdest thing because it was, but that's just one of the things. Like, in our book, our new book, we have a whole chapter devoted just to the weird things that have happened to my side of the family and Leslie.
Wow.
Like in 1979, January '79 was when my family had the same things happening in two different locations in the Sonora house,
Oh.
350 miles apart, and the Fallbrook house over 5 nights.
I was
And
at the Fabric House. I used to go over there. I remember that.
yeah,
house.
exactly. You knew
They
my
tend to
dad.
come in
Yeah.
clusters. These
Yeah.
things.
So
you know?
anyway, so one night, one morning, I woke up, like 5:30, and I was sleeping on the couch in the living room because I was afraid to sleep in my bedroom because of what had happened the night before. So, anyways, I was sleeping, and I looked at my piano, thinking what I was going to play, some ELP or something that day,
Oh
and
yeah.
listen to
ELP.
the fountain in the other room. So I was awake. I was laying on the couch. I just didn't want to get up at 5:30 in the morning in January.
Oh
And
yeah.
from the front door behind me, it was like this doorway opened up, and all this blue white light just came
Wow.
through it, and this tall, 6.5 foot tall, skinny being walked
Wow.
and glided through about
Wow.
20 feet from behind me, about 20 feet in about a second or two, and stopped on my right hand side, paralyzed the whole right side of my body.
Oh
I could not
wow.
move the right side of my body. I'm
Wow.
totally awake. I could move the left side if I wanted to, but it bent down to me, and I could kind of see its face. Had the big eyes, right? And but skinny, and it said, "Hi, Steve." It's like, like a whisper that I couldn't tell whether it's male
Yeah.
or female, but I could see its
Yeah.
shape. And the
Yeah.
blue white light filled the whole house up, but it stopped right by me.
Really?
So it
Wow.
wasn't a blue white light that continued on into the backyard. It
Wow.
stopped right. It was like this wall that came. And I'm thinking I'm going to see the family spirit guide called Old Glegley that I heard about from my parents and my grandparents and my aunt and uncle that had been with the family for 4 generations.
Turns out it's more like a gray alien.
Yeah. So anyway, so
plaguing
then
Oh
the
wow.
family
so
instead.
I want to
Wow.
talk to it, but I'm also scared because my logical brain is saying you can't move. Okay. And then I
Wow.
guess maybe it considered that, maybe I'm too afraid, whatever. Then it unbent and it left and it took the white light with it. And then I just blacked out.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
I told my dad and sister about it at breakfast time,
Mhm.
and we were cabinet making, right? So you know that. And so we just went back to work. So 11:30 rolls around, and I said, Dad, I'll just go down to Jack in the Box and get us some hamburgers or something, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was wearing the clothes I was wearing the night before, the day before, because I wasn't wearing my pajamas, so I just was wearing in my work clothes. And so I reached into my right-hand side pocket to pull out the change I had, the money, put it on the
Yeah.
table, and all the coins were magnetized.
Oh
Okay.
really? Wow.
All the American coins, I could pick up the coins by the
Wow.
edge, by the face really easily. My dad could
Right.
do it too. I had a couple nails that were in my pocket too,
Oh
some
wow.
six-penny nails, and they were all magnetic, but the coins especially, which are not supposed to be magnetized, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not magnetized on purpose, right? So
No.
anyway, so we're looking saying this is not possible, but what happened to me was physical hard proof that I did have the experience,
Yeah.
that I blacked out, that I was paralyzed, and I was hit with some type of a plasma or some type of electromagnetic field.
We
Yeah.
surmised
Right.
he
Right.
was
Yeah.
Right.
taken aboard a ship,
Yeah.
and
I have missing time. I have plenty
Oh
of missing
wow.
time in my
Really?
and
life.
Wow.
sometime during this abduction, he was exposed
Yeah.
to a
My
strong
brother
electromagnetic field.
my brother saw the same guy, when he was 16 at the Sonora house, and he
Mhm.
saw it actually as a tall gray.
Oh
He saw it
wow.
as that. My uncle's life was saved in Sri Lanka, which was Ceylon, in post World War II when he was a
Oh
pilot. This being approached him when he was sleeping on a multi-man cot outside, in a bunker situation, and this
yeah.
being, again 6.5 foot tall, but this time black with wearing a red fez, woke him
Oh
up and
wow.
said, "Douglas, you have to leave right now. There's a raiding party coming through, and you will be killed."
Oh
And so
wow.
he knew about
Wow.
Old Glegley. He knew about
Wow.
Old Glegley he'd heard about it
Yeah.
from different people, and so he
Yeah.
realized that, okay, I better get up. And the being disappeared, right? So he got out of his cot,
Yeah.
went outside. A minute later, a raiding party came through with,
Wow.
with with bayonets and with guns and killed
Oh
several of
wow.
the
So
officers. Now
wow.
the funny thing is that when his only child Cheryl, when she became old enough to drive, he became wealthy too. My uncle became very wealthy.
Yeah.
Which he was a really, really good guy. I mean, he was like
Yeah.
British and just like a complete gentleman. Um, not with us anymore. But anyway, so when his daughter became of age to drive, he bought her this beautiful white Triumph sports car. This was back in the mid 70s, right? And I remember she pulled up at our house, the Fallbrook house once, and the license plate was O'Glegley.
Yeah, the vanity
Oh,
plate.
really? Wow.
Yeah. He did it
Wow.
as a homage to
Oh,
his life
sure.
being saved by the
Yeah.
family
Wow.
protector. The
We
family
surmise
protector.
we surmise that they protect the family and prey on the family
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
once they find, it's almost like protecting your prize cow, you know,
Yeah.
because you're getting DNA that
They're
that
still
that you
using. Yeah,
want,
it's
you
still
know.
being used though.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, Leslie, let me just say,
Mm.
I think you look absolutely lovely. You don't look like a lizard at all.
Oh,
You
that's
look
a
great.
good one.
Thank you. Aw.
Now, Paul, you promised to also share with our audience a magic trick too.
Yes, I have it right here. Okay, so let me ask you a question. You guys ever play any card games with like a deck of cards?
Sure.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, name a couple.
Oh, okay. Let's say we
Hand and
play
foot.
hand and foot and cribbage.
Cribbage, right.
And
And you know, there's so many games, right? There's poker,
yeah,
there's rummy. You guys, are you familiar with Blackjack 21?
sure.
Sure.
Okay. Do you remember how many cards are in a standard deck of cards?
52.
52, exactly. And do you remember there's 4 suits, red and black? Do you know what the 4 suits are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they are, see if you can remember, they're diamonds,
Spades, hearts,
Clubs,
cards,
hearts,
clubs,
and
right.
spades. Yeah.
You got it. Okay. And you know the cards are all numbered, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up, Jack, Queen, Queen. And when you're playing a game like Blackjack, that's the whole point. You're keeping score. Okay. So whenever you play any card game, it's random. Yeah, they deal you a hand, you don't know what you're gonna get, right?
Right.
Okay, unless you have photographic memory. I don't. I have the forgetting memory kind. I wish I had the photographic memory.
Oh.
But okay, so so let's say you're playing your game, and I got 4 cards here. Let's say you get 2 kings like this right here, right? So
Right.
if you play the rest of your hand right, in some games you'd win. Those are high value cards, right?
Mhm.
Or at least
Yes.
it's a pair in poker. So either
It's a
way, you're
pair,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a pair,
Pair
and
king.
they're high value cards, higher than a 5, higher than a. Okay, so
Right.
let's say you're playing your card game, and remember it's random. You don't know what you can get. This time, let's say they deal you a couple of red kings like this right here. Okay, that's
Ah.
still considered really good cards. You could win with a hand like that if you play the rest of your card games. But if you really want to win, I think you'd want the power cards, right? And remember, you don't know what you're going to get. You probably want like the wild cards, like an ace. Am I right?
Yes,
Right.
yay.
Right.
But if you get 4 aces, you're probably going to win the game. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
indeed.
yeah. So there you go. There's my
Very good.
That's a
Thank
good
you.
one. That's a good one.
thank you.
Let's close
Yeah.
up though, Stephen. You forgot to tell the one that happened in the Tarzana with the at the movie theater.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, as I was doing the research, yeah, there was apparently around the same time period in the mid '70s, there was a mass sighting at a drive-in theater in the Tarzana region. Of course, it's like on a Friday night or a Saturday night, whatever, where a whole bunch of people also saw another. They described it as like a orangish red sphere that
Oh,
was
okay.
over the movie theater.
So just like yours, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another one that looks like an orange
there were
sun.
a lot. There
huh?
were a lot that were happening during that time period. If you did any research, you'll find them.
I
You
think
know-
they were interested in Rocketdyne.
Well,
Oh wow, yeah, because that's
Maybe.
like up over there. You know, I actually went to a movie theater there in the Reseda Tarzana area. I'm wondering if it was the same one. I went there in the
Probably.
'60s and saw Godzilla.
oh, really? Good for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe it was the same
Yeah.
theater because I think I was
It
the
was
only
the
one
same
there.
one. It was the
Yeah,
same one.
Same
Yeah,
theater, huh?
yeah. It was the same one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's yeah, exactly. Like I say, we were interesting to our well, we call them cousins.
We call them cousins. Yeah.
To be nice, we call them cousins because they breed with us. If you talk to Karen Wilkinson, she's met all 4 of her hybrid children, and like I say, she's got
wow.
she's also sees them. She's also she's very Christian like yourself, and she sees them as being soulless, and she sees them as being
like demons,
opportunists that are using us, and she sees that they cohabitate with us here on the planet. And
I think
they're not here for our benefit. Put it that way.
I think the demon mythos comes from the alien abduction phenomenon because, they come at night. They are powerful. They can paralyze you, kind of like vampires, and they steal DNA. And then the breeding program is kind of like the incubus. from the 1600s, a woman would claim she was raped by a demon, and then she'd show some signs of pregnancy, but the pregnancy wouldn't come to full term. She would just give birth to air.
The scary thing is, like with Karen Wilkinson, is that we have ultrasounds, and doctors obstetricians can tell you that you were pregnant, you did have a fetus there, and then
and now
go back there, the fetus is gone.
Yeah.
It's
vacuumed.
It's really interesting. In the book of Genesis, there's a description early on about these fallen angels that come down. They said they saw the daughters of men were beautiful, so they took them as wives, and they had children by them. And so now you've got this half demon humans, and they were renowned. They were powerful. They were seen as gods back then.
The Nephilim.
So it's the Nephilim. So it's almost like the demonic fallen angels are doing the same thing again, but now they're getting women, impregnating them, creating these half hybrids. And I think that may be a whole race of these beings flying around in these craft up there. You know what I mean? They're hybrids. It's kind of scary, but like you said, I mean, just an idea. I don't know.
No, it's actually there is some evidence to support that. You watch what they do, not what they say. Watch what they do.
Right.
There's a guy named David Paulides who's doing these documentaries called The Missing 411. There's two different ones. There's Missing 411 Kids and Missing 411 just in general. And this is some research he's doing about apparently when the aliens take somebody who is alone out in the wilderness, they don't feel obliged to put them back.
Right.
They sometimes keep them, and because there's no, the disappearance is always just chalked up to lost in the wilderness.
Wow.
And these are professional hunters that have been doing it their whole lives, and sometimes just in groups too, where they are separated and they're just never seen from again. And they almost always seem to have German background.
Yeah,
there seems to be a preference for white Germanic background, and it's funny how it's the same thing. And these guys, there's no way they got lost, and their gear is found. It's like, but there's no sign of them at all.
And this one guy who was an elk hunter out in the forest, he was taken. He was shooting at an elk, and the bullet just stopped and fell, like it hit some like hard plastic or something and fell. And then this alien shows up, except he said it looks just like a man, like a Caucasian man.
Wow.
He said his name is Uzo.
Yeah, Uzo.
Except when his hand was into a device, kind of like a Borg hand, into a machine of some kind.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm going to take you with me. And so he takes the guy, and they did some medical stuff to him and determined that he had a vasectomy.
Wow.
And they said, "Oh, we don't need you now. We've discovered we don't need you, so we're going to put you back after all." So they put him back, and he of course he's got this insane story, and he had, before this incident, he had tuberculosis scarring on his lungs.
Wow.
And after he came back, it was gone, and that's impossible. That if people want proof right there, that this is an impossible healing that took place with this guy.
They said, "Give me my elk." They took his 5 elk. So what did you take my elk?
They also stole the elk he was shooting at. Yeah,
stole the elk that he was.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's that guy's fate.
It's kind
what happens to him.
It's kind of infuriating that people just are taken. It's infuriating that against their will, and they don't come back. That's like
Oh, it's like horrible. I mean, the women that are basically raped and forced to have, and take the fetuses after 3 to 4 months, and then they're just like, okay, you're raping me to start with, and then you're stealing my baby.
And what's the fate of the baby? What's their life like? That's what I'd like to know. So
yeah, exactly.
It's all scary stuff. Oh, this is the part of the show where we want you to plug yourself as far as how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, and what your next projects are and stuff.
So I have an email address that I could. Do you want me to actually type it in this thing? Well,
I'll
I
go
don't
ahead and
know.
say it out loud.
Say it out loud first.
Oh, okay. So it's you can email me at Mr. Paul Magician at gmail.com. So Mr. is not the whole it's MR and then my name PAUL, then the word magician, all one word, Mr. Paul Magician at gmail.com. And you can email me there. And, of course, we love bringing joy and fun. We perform at assisted care centers, retirement communities, veterans homes. We do outdoor events, private parties, and we love bringing joy and fun and the magic, and also playing the cover songs. We get everybody to sing along. But we are so we've got our song. It's kind of rock genre that you mentioned, The Fight, and it's available on the streaming platforms, Spotify, iTunes. It's also iHeartRadio, Pandora. If you go to those platforms, you can even hear it on just YouTube Music, not YouTube, but YouTube Music. And if you look for Autumn Rains, The Fight, 4 words. First word autumn, like the season. Next word rains, like rains are falling down. Then that's a really hard word to spell, the THE. Autumn rains, the fight. You'll hear that song. It's just I wrote it, got it in the late '90s, and it could be applied to any period of time where there's like tyranny and crime and prejudice and sickness, just sadness.
Very appropriate for
kind
today.
of it kind of
Is it
addresses
on your
that.
album?
Yeah, it's the single off of our album that we released, and that's been out there a little while. I'm an independent artist, so I've got to learn about promotion and marketing. That's a whole nother animal, But yeah, you can check that out and share it with everybody you want, and we'll release some more. Yeah, sure. And if
you're situated in Washington State, right?
I'm in Washington State. I actually live, in Port Orchard. So if you're kind of in the Kids Hop area, you want an entertainer, get a hold of me. I love to do a show for you, do magic. I just did a 6-year-old birthday party. They brought all the kids and the adults over. And so if you're out here, just let me know.
Okay, great. And your album, they can also get your album. They can get it through
What's it called, the album?
So no, I haven't released the album yet. I just
Oh,
released the
that's coming
single.
then.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep releasing singles, I think, for a while. That's one strategy, they say, So just kind of single at a time. The next one I'll release probably a song called Cries, and it'll probably be also available on the streaming platforms. But
Great.
I'll announce it somehow.
All right.
Wonderful.
Good. And your wife performs with you too. She's quite the singer too. Does Pat
Oh
Benatar.
my gosh, she's a phenomenal vocalist. She's doing the vocals on The Fight. I'm playing all the instrumentation, mostly on my chord Dem 1 for that song. But yeah, when we perform, they always love her. They rave about her voice. She sings rock, jazz, folk, country, just whatever. Just really powerful singer and a lovely voice, and makes a lot of people happy. And
And she makes you happy. That's the important too.
She makes me happy. And during our magic act, I've never actually cut her in half. I'm doing this, telling the lady. If I did, I'd have to bring duct tape in case I make a mistake. Too much blood and all that.
1,002 uses for duct tape now, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He
Medical
loves his
uses.
duct tape.
Yeah, the duct tape's great.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you so much for filling in tonight and helping us with our show. We had a last minute cancellation last week, and it's kind of put me on my heels trying to figure out what to do. And I said, but Paul, we need to talk to Paul about his experiences. And I'm so glad we did. And thank you so much.
That's my shirt.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
that's so cool. And I like both your shirts. Abduction 101. Oh yeah. Those are great shirts. I have to say this though. Why can't pirates recite the entire alphabet? Like we can, A, B, C, D, F, G. Why can't pirates recite the entire alphabet?
I don't know. Why can't they?
Because they always get lost at sea. It's so sad. you think they know their way around, but no, they always get lost at sea.
Oh God! I was going to say because they can only pronounce R.
R. Right. Another take. Right.
Well, thanks again, Paul. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off now. And you all have a wonderful evening.
Peace and prosperity.
Peace and prosperity. I can't do that sign. I have to do that. Yeah.
Not everybody can.
Yeah.
The fire